There.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, I was going to tell you, the Wayne State Medical, they did they have a huge biomechanics department, and they did all the major work associated with cadavers to deal with car accidents in terms of the forces and the femurs and all the other stuff that they use, like in programs like Matimo and that sort of thing.
Okay,
They did
that's
a major
interesting.
amount of research that was associated with crashes.
Well, it's certainly a big program, and it's a desirable program. So, I'm going to go up there and see if they want me.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Time to put out the shingle, huh?
Well, I gotta go up someplace and practice for 3 years and show them that I know what I'm doing before they'll give me my license. So.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle the cold?
Well, I lived in the Sierras for a lot of years. I don't like it, but I'll do it. I think that's everybody's answer. Nobody likes it.
No.
Some strange people do.
Hey, everybody.
You want me to introduce Christa?
Yes, can you do that, please?
I can. So, welcome, Christa. And let me pull this up here. Christa is the publisher and editor-in-chief of RoadRunner Magazine. It's a motorcycle touring and travel magazine dedicated to touring on motorcycles. I don't know if any of you guys get it. I get it whenever it comes out. But it's an independent publication owned and run by a woman who's an avid motorcycle rider. Today, it's a well-established magazine that started 20 years ago. She's going to talk to us about how she got into motorcycling and how she started the magazine.
What's the name of the magazine again?
RoadRunner. Motorcycle.
RoadRunner.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. Very well composed.
Good. So, yeah, good evening. I am Christa Neuhaus. I'm the publisher of RoadRunner Magazine, and obviously not everybody knows the magazine. As Linda already mentioned, we're in the market now 20 years, and it all started, well, you hear my funny accent. I'm not originally from the States. I'm from Austria, so everybody speaks there with a funny language, a funny accent. Anyway, so I grew up in the mountains, and living in Austria, have a lot of mountain skiing, snow. So during the winter time, it was skiing. That was my pastime. But once the snow was gone, then you saw those beautiful mountain roads. And once I was old enough, we were starting riding them at the pass roads and all those curvy roads and down to Italy. And then I realized, okay, well, riding as a passenger is not for me. So I got my own motorcycle, and there was no stopping. We escaped. Yeah, we explored Europe on 2 wheels. So the riding of, well, forget it. My husband and I, we both like to ride motorcycles. We could go out, explore the world, and we had those magazines in Europe, in Germany, most likely, and we found an article on the Highway 1. So the photos were fantastic, and the article's written so vividly that we said, you know what, let's check it out. And it was a long time ago, so we shipped over our motorcycles, started out in Los Angeles, and went up the Pacific Coast Highway. It's I mean, a beautiful road, Pacific Coast Highway. I can imagine many of you know this. And it's a very curvy, very scenic road. And it was just an experience. It was so much fun that several years later, we came back to do the Route 66. And we started out in Chicago and went all the way to Los Angeles, and even the Death Valley we included. We took about 2 weeks, and that was before everybody was traveling on the Route 66. It was really an experience because sometimes when you were riding, it was not easy to find the route because there were no signs, no direction. And I guess you all agree, never ask at the gas station because people don't know anything there. So we were sometimes going in circles before we decided just go on and find our own way. And I just remember one time we were kind of following and the road just ended in a field. It was just gone. So that was such a long time ago where it was not connected yet, because nowadays it's connected. You can follow it easily. And all in all, it was such a great experience that when we came back to Austria, we sat down with our boys. They were young teenagers and said, you know what? How about we move to the States? We always wanted to move somewhere and do something different. We were photographers at that time and had an advertising agency. So, well, they were excited and we said, yep, let's do it. And before we know it, we were on the East Coast. We decided to move to the East Coast only because it was closer to Europe. We still had business going on there. And we brought our motorcycles. So, well, we took the motorcycles and scouted out our new home country and wanted to see where the locals would go. And we went to the bookstores and checked out the racks and wanted to know what tours are featured, which areas are featured, what's good to write, and realized there were many good magazines out there, good, interesting to read, but nothing dedicated to touring, no good touring information. So we said, well, we have the background, right? We have, we know, about photography. We know, putting things together, the layout, how the process works. So why not? The only thing is, it was a crazy idea. First of all, English is not our native language. We had little idea about how the market works in America. We had no contacts at that time, and well, money was a little short as well. But my husband, Christian, he was very, very driven. He was convinced that this idea, this motorcycle magazine, could work and people would like it. So he talked with people in the industry and then came back and we said, yeah, well, there's only one way to find out, right? Let's just do it. Let's sit down and start it and put all our funds together and see what it is. And well, the first couple of years were difficult as for financials. It's kind of the story where everything starts in the garage. That's absolutely us. And where, some of the things that mailing and whatever packaging happened in the garage, and my sons invited their friends from school and I cooked dinner for them in return. So basically that's the story how we started out. And the readers liked what we were doing. We were going to the Honda Hood. It was very first time. It was already in Knoxville. People loved what we were doing. So that kept us going. And we went to 4 times a year to 6 times a year. And that's almost 20 years ago. Now we have the print magazine, beautiful print magazine. You can read us in print, that you either subscribe, or if you don't know us, please go to the bookstore, or you can read us on Nook, any other digital device. We're available in the App Store. We produce videos for people that like to see the action. We have a YouTube channel with short videos, 3 to 5 minutes, just to experience the fun. What we're known for is the touring with all the touring information. Basically, what we're looking for information when we go on tour, that we say, okay, tell me about the area. Tell me, what does it look like there? So the emphasis is on good photography and great photography, that you can tell, yeah, wow, that looks really good. I want to go there. That it gives you the impression, well, don't know if you see that. Basically, it's photography is important. The writing should be entertaining and informative. And with all that comes maps that you say, okay, if you want to, I want to do this tour. So you have pull-out maps at the back of the magazine that you can take out, put it in your tank bag and follow those roads. So basically that's the idea. And as a subscriber, you can make your account on our website, and there you have all the maps to download, the GPS files. Yes, that's one more thing, GPS files. A lot of us like, rather than the maps, they like to put it in their Garmin or whatever GPS they have and can follow those routes. So basically we have, in the meantime, since we started, over 550 tours in North America alone, which are all available. Yeah, basically that's what it is for motorcyclists, from motorcyclists to motorcyclists. And sad story along the way. I started out with my husband. Unfortunately, he had an accident in 2005. He was killed in a sidecar accident. He entered the interstate, a truck ran him over, and good thing was it was short and he didn't have to suffer. That was the good thing about it. It was a really bad time for us, for the family, for the magazine, and well, but in his spirit we decided to continue on. That was now 14 years ago, and we published to this day, and we've gotten bigger, we've gotten stronger. I'm very proud that my two sons are working with me. The youngest son, Florin, he's managing editor right now, and marketing. He heads the marketing department as well. Well, you know, in a small company, we're a handful of people here in the office. We have, I don't know, 20 freelancers. We wear many hats. And my oldest son, Manuel, he is the computer guy. Whatever needs to be done on the IT department, that's him, and that's really valuable. That's why we're able to be up to date and able to offer the magazine on all different platforms. Well, our strength is for sure the detailed information, that we have one-day trips. If people say, well, we don't have a week time to do those tours, we have city escapes out of metro area that you say, okay, well, you can travel, we give this information, you can ride it, you have the miles, that you know how many miles you can go, you have stops along the way, some points of interest when you say, yep, I want to do something along the way, not just ride. Everybody has a different style of riding. Some people, they just want to rack up miles. Other people want to do sightseeing along the way. So we try to accommodate to all of that as good as we can. Main focus in the magazine is always the touring in North America, number one, international as well. And then we talk about motorcycles we ride, we talk about products we use, we talk about the Zen motorcyclist. It's a really neat column in our magazine. It's not sure if you read it before. It's very inspiring, you know, all the thoughts when you're in a motorcycle, what goes through your head, and a refreshing column to read in between the tour stories. Wow, so I would like to know who knows, who is familiar with the magazine?
I am.
Good.
I've read it over the years and always found it to be very insightful, informative, and nice to read.
Yeah, that's a challenge is that basically every tour article is the same thing, right? We can put on our gear in the morning, we look out the window, check the weather, and then get ready and leave. So, well, what changes is the area for us, because just depending where we go, but that it doesn't get boring, That we not only, okay, get on the bike, check the fuel, go on, you know, rev up, go on the curves, have fun there, and you know, this along the line. So we try to have multiple, and we do have multiple journalists. Everybody brings in their own voice. Everybody has their own emphasis.
Sure.
But we all have in common that we like to ride motorcycles and share the passion. So that is the thing.
Good.
And yeah, I think there's always room for improvement. I must admit, every issue that comes out, we stick together. And even after 20 years, it's exciting when the issue comes from the printer, and we can't wait to see it. They will say, yep, that's good, or that we could change, or that needs to work on. And I'm not sure if the readers would see that, but we're very strict with ourselves and very driven.
Good.
And yeah, I must say, and we're a very good team, and I do enjoy what we're doing, and I think that's what you can see in the product as well. That we put our heart in there. It's not only just that we do it because that's our job. We do put our heart in there, and I believe that's what you see.
Sure.
Any
Christa,
questions for me?
So,
I think that I have subscribed since you started. I love the magazine, and the only problem I have is I'm running out of closet space because I save every one of them.
Good problem to have. Good problem to have.
Christa, I have a comment. First of all, I hope you'll accept my condolences over your loss. I can't imagine what you have had to go through, the struggles with that, but you appear to be doing very well in coping. So I applaud you for that. The other thing is about your country, Austria. I want to tell you that you almost caused problems for me with my marriage, because about 15 years ago, I traveled to Munich with 4 other friends of mine, and the first place we stopped was Innsbruck. Innsbruck? Yeah. And I woke up the next morning and I refused to leave. Everybody was geared up and ready to go, but everyone was so hospitable, so friendly, so kind. The food was fantastic. The riding was unsurpassed with the twisties and no guardrails. I loved it. We all loved it. And I told the guys that I could read a map, so they should go on, and I would catch up with them about 6 days later back in Munich. They wouldn't let me stay. They almost had to hog tie me to my bike to get me to leave. But I told them that I would write a letter to my wife explaining to her where I was, that she could join me, but if she didn't want to, I understood that that's where I would be for the rest of my life. The country is that beautiful, just magical. And the riding, incredible.
It's fun. It's fun. Yeah, the mountains, it's just a different riding style altogether. It's kind of those curves and this play with the gravity. And yeah, I must say, I do enjoy it. And we do go back every year. Actually, I mean, I'm not sure if you're aware that we have a tour company. And I think that was Christian's idea at the very beginning. And people always said, you know, you're from Austria, riding is fantastic there, right? So we started having those reader rides. And in the meantime, we kind of made it a little bit bigger. There's Blue Ribbon Tours. Have you seen that?
Yes, yes.
That's our sister company. That's what we do. And we got back to Europe and we write extensively there.
Good.
Being the publisher has its plus as well, I must say. So I can say, you know, I need to go on those tours because I need to verify that they're good, right?
Sure.
Yes, so that's a good thing. Being the publisher, I can say, you know, I want to go on this tour. I was on the beautiful Four Corners tour this June. You know, you started out in Albuquerque and went up to Sandia Crest, and we went up to Santa Fe, to Colorado, then to the Four Corners, because that's obligatory, and then to the Monument Valley. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful ride, I must say. It came back through Arizona. It was fantastic. We took 10 days, we took our time, and it's beautiful to write, but it's just different.
It is.
That's what you say. It's
That's
just
great.
the scenery is, oh wow, it's fantastic.
Well, your passion with enthusiasm shows through very well. So that's why your magazine is such a great success.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Yes, that's. I'm fortunate enough that I say my hobby is my job at the same time. Well, there's some computer time and office time too, but
Sure.
let's not talk about that.
So I have a question about, I do most of my reading digitally. I don't like paper anymore. And so it's interesting because you talk about these inserts that you have that you can put in your tank bag. Are those graphics available to subscribers to download and actually print? Because I found that, in Kindle or in other applications, it doesn't really translate well. When you try to print some graphics, either you can't do it or the format is all wrong. Is that a problem for you, or how does that work?
Well, we have two options. As a print subscriber, you also get access to the digital issue, to the browser-based digital issue. And there you have all the GPS file and the maps. You have kind of a folder, every issue has that. So as of the App Store, I don't think you can have attachments there. So you would have to, if that's the case, you would have to email in and we would send it to you. That's a thing.
Okay.
Unfortunately, nothing because of the medium. I don't know, actually, I'm not an expert. I can talk about motorcycles, about computer, not so much. But anyway, as of Nook, I'm not sure if it's included in Nook and we can print that.
What kind of bike do you ride?
Sorry, what
Which
bike do
one?
I ride?
Yes.
The last one I've ridden, let me think. As it was a BMW 700 GS, the F700 GS.
Very good choice.
Yes, then I was riding the motorcycle before. Where was I there? Oh, a Ducati Scrambler in Italy. That was fun. That was a perfect bike. I thought, Italy, small roads, narrow roads. I need my Ducati Scrambler. So that was fantastic. Before that, I was riding the Indian Chieftain. That was for the Four Corners tour. So,
How did you like the Chieftain?
Well, you know what happened? First, I got on the Chieftain, not realizing they had the ape hangers on it.
Oh, no.
No.
Seriously. And, I thought, well, I can ride motorcycles. I can do that. And then I went to the gas station, right, to fill up the gas. I almost didn't make it out the gas station. That was hilarious. It's really, the others took off and I'm still there kind of, you cannot get up, right? Because you cannot stand on your foot pegs and I cannot reach my handlebars. So, well, I turned it in. They put other regular balance on it, and then I was fine. Actually, I really liked it. I liked the Indian Chieftain. For those roads, it was perfect. I could ride all day. You don't get tired. It's comfortable. You don't feel the weight, unless you get into gravel. That's a different story. So I ride whatever's around. In my garage, I have two KTMs, the Adventure and the, no, you asked me too quick. Two Triumphs, the Tiger and the Speed Triple. And we have a Suzuki, the V-Strom 650 in the garage right now. So it needs to be moved, right? Motorcycles need to move. Any other question?
I posted a few questions in chat. Curious how your business has changed with bloggers and people putting out free content and so on.
Good question. Good question. On the internet, we cannot compete. It's with blogs nowadays, you need to have original content. You can just not use it from other sources. So we need original content. But what we are strong is with our niche publication, because what we do, the touring, nobody else is doing, and we put a lot of time and effort into that. We like this time of the year, we plan 2021, because the year 2020 is already done for us. We have the tours. While we can still work with the tests, we see what's coming in, what's needed, what we would like to feature. That is short term, but long term, we work a year ahead. So at this time of the year, we look into tours for 2021. We need to find the locations. The routes, which motorcycles will we use, which journalists will cover that, and in that it goes a lot of planning, and that's what's happening right now, and that is all what you find in the magazine, and I think that's the niche what our readers like, basically. That's why we're not competing on the internet for sure. I mean, there are other websites out there. They have the manpower. They have, I don't know, 5 or 10 journalists hired, and they nonstop produce text and blogs for the website. That's not us.
Sure, you get kind of a longer term focus.
Yes.
A lot of the things on Facebook and the internet in general are short attention span things.
Yes, Facebook, well, of course you have to have it, but it's not something that we say that's our strong suit. No, our strong suit is the touring, that we have a community that we serve, that we feature tour articles, we introduce areas, right? That we say, well, I never thought of writing there, but looks interesting, let's go there. And then you find out it's a fantastic area to write. It's just that, well, it never came to your mind before that, before we featured it, and before you see, okay, the photos, that's how it looks, and that's how it writes, and that's special in this area. So that's our strong suit. That's what I'm saying. And
sure, yeah.
Yes, good question, because you said people always talk nowadays, print is dead. I do not feel that, because I was just thinking a little. Well, my son Floyd, he ordered tea. He likes tea anyway. So with the tea, there came a beautiful magazine with it. So even a tea company finds it, that it's worth producing a magazine about the company and about the tea. There was not only a brochure to order. There was a thick, heavy stock, nice quality print, and that's where we're going with it. It's not that the daily news, that's not what you find in our magazine. It's something, it should be a keeper, it should be information that is valid 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road. And that's why I'm saying that's where our niche is, and that's where we're strong.
Mm-hmm. It's more about the geography and less about the technology.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Although you're right, we started out with a magazine only for 20 years ago. Then the website was only, okay, we have a website too. All of a sudden the website gets more and more important, right? It has more and more functions. And then you realize, okay, now we need to go digital. You need to be on all the platforms. Yeah, we do that too. So you need to also the social media platforms. I mean, those are things you have to be nowadays. It's without questions. You just have to have a presence. But it's still the heart and the core is the magazine, the print.
Have you considered a mobile app?
We do have a mobile app for our tours. We have it's RoadRunner Rides. Let me see if I find that. It is where we have all our tours on the mobile app, and you can, well, the app is for free, but then you subscribe. I think is it 2 weeks for free, the trial period, and then you pay. But you have all the GPS files from the very beginning, 500 plus whatever it is, and you can follow the routes. That is really good, and we're working on it right now, that you can create your own route on the browser, and then it goes automatically on your phone. So what we do nowadays is that we navigate with our phones. We have all the tools on the phone. It's really convenient. First of all, you have a bigger display. And I had no problems. Garmin, it's always kind of me and Garmin. It's, you know,
It's not your
I
happy
know
place.
getting lost is part of the fun, I know. But, well, sometimes I thought Garmin did it on purpose.
It's possible. It's like the Andy Goldfine, interesting road finder in the Aerostitch catalog, made by Venusians and powered with a walnut.
Yep, I think so too. Anyway, we tried it for many years, but once we had have our own app now for the second year, I'm hooked. It's easy to use, and if you want to try it out, it's RoadRunner Rides.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look for that. I still like print magazines, and I've got Motorcyclist. Of course, they went away. Their last episode was, or their last issue was sometime this past year, and so now who's the sub it out? Somebody else, some other magazine in the same publishing house for the balance of the subscription they're using. And of course, City Bike in the Bay Area is gone.
Most likely,
Yeah.
right? Do you
What's
receive
that?
Cycle World now?
That's the one. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, if you haven't seen that magazine, Roadrunner, it's a beautiful magazine. It has great photography. The stories are good. They do some product reviews, but I highly recommend it. You ought to try it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
And
and
here, I thought I was the only dork that read Aerostitch stuff.
Oh no, you have
That's
to.
great, Scott.
I love his fake products in there, and that was one of them, the IRF, or Interesting Road Finder.
yeah, and we're 3 generations of riders. I don't know if you're aware that I have 2 little grandsons. They are now 2 and 4 years, and they started out with Strider bikes, and you know those walking bikes.
Yeah.
And, the older one, well, when he was 3.5, he had the Strider bike with the pedals, and he sat on it, and within 5 minutes he took off. It was amazing. 3.5 years old, I could not believe it. And that's one thing that I'm really impressed. So we were at the IMS show in Long Beach last weekend, and we was trying to bring new people to the industry. And that is one way of doing that. The younger generation, they do that with schools now. That certain schools, they bring them Strider bikes, and they can incorporate in their program. And at the shows, they offer people that do not ride yet, that they ride a bicycle first, and then an e-bike, and then an electric bike, just to give them the feel and to get them hooked. So I'm wondering how that goes, and to bring the ideas, as I said, to bring more people in the industry, and one is with those Strider bikes.
Yeah, Lee Parks with the California Motorcycle Safety Program is doing that at some of the shows out here, and I work for the CMSP program also. So I've seen them doing that, and MSF had a dirt bike school out here. They probably still have something like that.
It's a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need more people, right?
Well, we got to keep the sport alive, right? Yeah. I was also going to mention, the part of the world you come from is fantastic. The first international tour I took was out of Faschina, Austria.
Okay.
So not too far from Silfreda Hauptstraße and, other amazing roads.
Nice. So you were riding motorcycles there?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you publish books as well, or just a magazine?
Good question. We have a book. Well, we have a special issue that we publish once a year in the fall. It's called Touring America's Backroads. That comes between the October issue and the December issue. So that's what we did the last 4 years. But as for the book, we have a little pocket book that Waypoints. Not sure if you've seen that. It is a collection of those Zen motorcyclists, the columns.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
guy who's sitting on his motorcycle, or all of their thoughts that go his mind, and it's pretty interesting to read. It's not something that you read, cover to cover. You read a story or two and you put it aside, and then you read a story here and there. It's very thoughtful, almost like say, I do like this. And we work on a book project that is the historic angle. So that's
Okay.
the project we're working on right now. But
Very cool. Well, thank you. I'm looking at your website right now in the process of signing up. So I'll be following you. Thanks.
good. Do we have any other questions? Well, if I answered all your questions.
Well, so it seems like, does anybody else have any questions? Because I'm going to move on to a Rotary Minute. And but before that, I just want to thank you for showing up. And we really appreciate what a wonderful speaker you've been. And I think it's exciting. We're getting good programs. And thanks for showing up. That's wonderful.
Thank you very much. Wish
Very
you
nice.
good luck.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yep. And you're absolutely welcome to stay, and you're welcome to join us anytime you'd like. We'd just love to have you anytime.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I even got Jeff to join us.
Uh-oh.
And if you don't know RoadRunner, please subscribe. I don't want to
We
make
are
advertisement here, but
He's an avid reader. I told him you were here, and he came running around the corner.
thank you. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you.
Come on,
You as
Christa.
well. Okay, so I've kind of dedicated a little time to every meeting now to just take a Rotary Minute. And currently, the material that I'm using to bring is a thing called Rotary Leader. And Rotary Leader is a magazine there, not a magazine, but a publishing, it's published, on the Rotary website that for everybody. But this month there's a piece in there that talks about Rotary Peace Academy. And Rotary Peace Academy is something that we can do online. It is it talks to us about, teaches us about conflict resolution, teaches us about bringing peace both internationally and in our community. And it's free. You can do the little thing online. And I'm wondering if I can share my screen. I'm going to look and see if I can. So if this goes horribly wrong, you're going to have to let me know. So yeah, I can't share it. But what I will do is I will post a link in the email for next week for the Academy. And you can just go to the website. It's RotaryPositivePeace.org. And it's free to do. It's a community building exercise. And I mean, peace is one of the things that attracts me about Rotary in general. And so this is, just my minute of where I'm happy to be with Rotary today. And so, does anybody else have any experience with the Rotary Peace Academy? No? Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to do it, and I'll post the website, and hopefully some other people will be interested. And there you go. Thank you, John. I can't type sitting here on the iPad, but the link is now in the chat. And so what do they teach in the MSA while we're sitting here talking about it? What do they teach in the MSA about these blind spots, people coming out on the right? This is, you know, the accident that I had recently, and so I'd like to know. You know, I don't think I've been through 3 advanced rider courses, and I don't think I've ever had that specific thing addressed. And so I'd like to hear from an MSF instructor. I'm sure we've got a few of them about this.
People coming out from the right side.
Yeah, I was hit from the right side, and it was fortunate that I was in a car. But I'm wondering what I could have done different. You know, I didn't have a whole lot of time to react. And had I been on my motorcycle, I don't know if I would have fared so well.
Right. The only thing irrelevant that I can think is when we have our SIPTI lesson, scan, identify, predict, decide, execute. They've changed that in the current curriculum to just SPA, scan, predict, act. And so we talk about a 2-second and a 4-second, you know, immediate path of travel, and then way out there like a 12-second visual lead. So I don't know if that driver who hit you was visible ahead of you or not.
Yeah. That was really part of the problem. Was, you know, I'm driving down a residential street, and there's cars parked on the right, and there was one of these tall white vans parked before the driveway, and I don't think he could see me, and I couldn't even see the driveway coming down the road. I didn't even know it was there. And he was, you know, looking, he had his phone in his face, and he came straight out of the driveway, accelerating, and didn't even, like, you know, look. And so it was a bad situation all the way around, and I should have predicted better when I, you know, saw that van, but really it didn't look like there was even a driveway there. So it was kind of a freak thing.
So Brian, what we tell people is, first of all collisions are not avoidable. Sometimes you've done everything right, you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time. But in terms of predictability, it's incumbent for all of us, when we ride, when we drive, we don't look just over the hood or just over the front wheel, but as far as you can see, okay? And when you scan, just what Scott was talking about, that van, when you see something, an obstruction like that, your assumption should be the worst case scenario. There's a kid who's going to kick a ball and run out in front of you. What are you going to do? Well, one of the first ways to mitigate that is speed. So you want to keep your speed at a point where you can absorb a collision without being fatally injured, or at least accelerate out of the danger zone. So when you slow down, you increase your reaction time is better because you have time to react. Because most of us, when we see impending peril or danger, we have that moment of fear. You know, what am I going to do? That's nanoseconds passing by. So you have to anticipate that, and it's hard. But in your case, it probably was not. It was not avoidable.
Right.
At least for impact.
Yeah. And I mean, I was going 25, but that's certainly fast enough to be in a deadly accident.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing is what I think it's very important. Hi, by the way.
Hi.
It's what I think it's very important that you have your protection clothes on. That's very important. Your helmet, your gloves, your trousers, you know, your jacket. Even if you have a Joe Rocket jacket, or you know, only the protection, because when you don't have that, it doesn't matter how fast you're going, that will hurt you, you know.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Well, on a lighter side of the news, I've ordered a bell for our club, and so that should be here sometime over the holidays. I'm going to figure out a way to do a screen share bell ring to open the meeting. So we'll see that hopefully in January. That's not gonna happen over the holidays because we're gonna be in Reno for the holidays. So I'll be coming to you live from Larry Trippett's neck of the woods, and so that's about all I have going on. Does anybody else have anything to talk about for the good of Rotary? For goodness sakes, we got 10 minutes.
I'm just looking at the calendar, and I didn't realize that we've got the next week and the week after, and then we won't see anybody until after the first of the year.
That's right.
I'll wait till next year.
Did we wish Jerry and Debbie a happy anniversary yet?
No.
No, Amanda, thank you.
You're welcome. Happy anniversary, Jerry.
Thank you, guys.
You've been married
You'll
almost
notice
as long
that
as alive.
the interesting thing is Facebook did a video for us.
Oh,
And right across it was a
Really?
Purple Heart. You know, the military awards Purple Hearts for those of us that survived battle.
Jerry, there are all kinds of battles we survive.
True story.
I do have my wounds. But with my sense of humor, I'm always going to have those wounds.
Those are self-inflicted. Self-inflicted.
No, wounds are where the stories come from. No wounds, no stories, right?
Well, that would make us the wounded.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is anybody else still riding these days? Or?
37 years gone in the blink.
Wow.
37. Wow.
God bless you.
And Linda told me she had 37 just 3 months ago, right, Linda?
September 11th.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought I was doing good with 30. Jeez, I've got 7 more? What?
Haven't killed him yet.
Oh.
I think the last 7 are a hell of a lot easier than the first 7 were.
Yeah.
I still have the hardest time, Jerry, because I picture your girls as still being like 15 and 13.
Oh, no.
I know.
Yeah.
Amanda, are you friends with Nikki's husband, Joe?
Yeah.
His stories are amazing.
Oh, I love following. He's my favorite part of the internet on some days. And there was one that he posted today about the kids. It was funny. I think he was laughing about something about them being, growing up so fast. And I was laughing because I was looking through University of Louisville stuff for Jonathan's housing. So I was like, oh, honey.
If we had happy bucks, I'd like to report one. I had a nice lunch with the Joneses last Friday. They had been up in Baltimore visiting her dad, and they came up. We had a very pleasant lunch.
We'll take that $1.
Yeah.
They add the postage to it.
There's a donate button on the website.
Yeah, I'll get right on it.
But
Well, now we've got dues.
$1 free.
We've got dues coming up. We can always add an extra $1, and that's all right.
You're talking.
You just have somebody
Yeah.
take a happy bucks, and we'll just add it in.
Yeah.
That's right. What we need is a sergeant at arms.
So if there's something, I don't know who get it. I think Jerry or somebody and Linda get it. But I get my citizenship 2 weeks ago. My U.S.
Hey.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I had my ceremony at the 13th of 11. That makes me a little bit, I had the interview in October, and I had the ceremony on the 13th of November. It was no Friday, by the way.
But you didn't
And today I tried to get my passport, but not to get one. So, but that was a nightmare because they sent me from one point to the other, and nobody knows really, and you cannot find anything in the internet. So this is why I was so late, because my whole schedule for the day was I was running after that, So, but yeah, soon I will have this American passport.
Yay, congratulations.
Congratulations
That's
again.
outstanding.
Thank you.
You didn't use any of us as references. What's up with that?
Too disruptive.
Smart.
She wanted to get it. That's why she didn't use us.
Now, I think it was when I had my interview, the guy was really nice. He said "Guten Morgen" to me. You know, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was on the other side on the town. And he started to talk in German with me on an interview to get an American citizen. Funny, right? So, and it comes out that he was stationed in Würzburg in Germany for a long time in his military time, and that was something. It maybe opens the door. He was a black guy. He was a very nice guy. And we had fun in our talk, and I had to only answer 6 questions. I was impressed. From 100 questions, I had only 6. And the only my written test was to write down George Washington was the first president. But I think I told that the other day, because I think John was it who told me he was not the first president. There was another guy. But from the United States, from the Union, it was the first president, right? So
well, the first president under the article,
exactly.
what preceded the Constitution?
Yes, that was a difference you told me before.
Yeah, John Hanson.
Don't confuse her. Don't confuse her.
Yeah, don't confuse her.
Probably confuse all of you anyway.
I'm done now. Maybe points, you know, when I say something like that. But it's all done now, and I'm very happy to have that because, you know, it was also very exciting the whole time, you know, because you have to be prepared. Then we was on a trip. Then we get the answer. You have to go to the ceremony. The ceremony they invited at 7 in the morning, and it's what I told you on the other side of the town. And there's not enough parking spots, so I left at 5, or we left at 5 at our house. And to go up, it was you know, everything. It's, you know, when something is open, I don't like that from my personal. You know, I like to have it done, and then it's out of my head, out of my way, and now it's done, and I'm happy with that. So,
good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so now I'm going to put Mr. Yarnell on the spot because I see that he's pouring a nice bottle of wine here for our last Happy Buck chat. How are you doing, David? Oh, he's muted again. I thought I unmuted him.
Good. How are you?
There you go.
Hi. Here we
Good
go.
to see you. So tell us about what vino are you drinking tonight, David?
It is Chilean Grand Reserve.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually have had that bottle before.
Yeah.
It's outstanding. All right.
Chicken piccata accompanies very nicely.
Okay. We didn't get any of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll save some for you next month.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that you need to get out and stock up on your French wines right now, right? Before the new tariffs go into effect.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're talking about 100% tariff on wine and
Wow.
Really?
Ouch.
Wow.
So if you've got a favorite French, go out and stock up. And if you don't have a favorite Spanish yet, start researching.
Let me suggest Pennsylvania wines.
I need to come up and do a tasting.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I agree. I got to come up there too. I was up there
South
for an exam
California,
not too
good.
long ago, but I didn't get away to do anything.
Where were
We've
you?
got some pretty good wine in Texas.
Yep.
I was in Philadelphia.
That's 3 hours away.
Yeah.
I'm
It's hard to beat California, folks.
As they say,
Amen.
I knew that was coming.
you want good wine, come to the California Central Coast, past Rivers.
Sonoma Valley. Oh, yeah.
I'm always open to
I know
new
anything.
experiences.
Napa, that's not too far from where I'm at. And I've got 2 spare bikes now. I took the 81 BMW to work today. The work in
Remember,
progress.
there's only 2 kinds of wine. Those that you like and those that you don't like.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right.
There's also the wine, I want to go back south.
But
It's too cold.
Ron, I've been really fond of Shenandoah Valley wines.
They've got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Shenandoah.
All over California. Yeah, that's right. Oh, we got a singer.
Speaking of wines in Texas, Ute, did you get a hold of the hotel place for your ride?
What do you mean?
You were talking about the rooms being booked up and that.
I was talking with them actually, and asked if I can make two more rooms. Because I wasn't sure, because if somebody not seeing it, but they have only the rooms with this beds over each other. I don't know the name.
Bunk beds.
Yes.
Bunk beds.
And they are not really wide, you know. So I'm sure I would not take this one. So yeah. So they have only this left. So nothing left, because you remember there's a rally, the motorcycle rally at the same weekend. So they get booked out very quickly. But we have some, I think about like 10 people. So I think it's a nice group, not too big, not too small, you know. So I think we will have a good time.
I'm going to come, but I'm going to sleep on the ground.
Me too.
Yeah, they have campground, and they have a RV park as well. So, but I have to talk with them because of the tents for you guys, because I'm sure they will do, because it's a rally, remember? There's a lot of people, they will do that too. So I will ask them that we can have 2 places more for a tent, or maybe you make a bigger tent and go together. That would be also a good idea. Then we need only 1, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But I will tell them that we have enough, and not you coming and there is no place. I have no problem to go on the floor in my room, you know, if there is no possibility, but we will see.
Hey, Brian, I've got one of those big Redverse tents where you can pull your into the vestibule. It's a 3-man tent, but you're not sleeping with me. I'm just shooting.
Oh, I was going to tell you not to get any big ideas, so that's okay. But if you got a palace, then, you know, I'll take a room.
Yeah. I know how you guys are in Florida. Yeah.
I just visited Florida, actually. I was in Naples a week.
That's right, I
just
saw
came
that.
back.
I'm sitting a few minutes from Naples as I speak.
Oh, really?
Quite the traveler.
Yeah, normally we want to make the tour with the motorcycle, but after the tour to North Carolina, where we had really bad weather, I said, you know, when you only go from A to B to somewhere, you know, and don't make trips over there, and we met friends, they have no motorcycle, so it made no sense to go with a motorcycle. This is why we was going with a car, but it was beautiful, gorgeous weather, unbelievable. It was nice, and when it's starting to getting nasty, I came back to Texas, you know. We are not bad at all right now.
Well, Ute, since we're celebrating your citizenship tonight, how about if you give us the 4-way test?
Where is my little note? Wait a minute.
Oh, we'll help you.
It's not that I not know it, but now when you say that to me. So the first.
Would you like a volunteer who's never done it?
I never done it. You're on. I'm talking with the meeting, and I visit, by the way, a meeting in Naples. But if I have to do it for myself, it's always hard to do because I cannot read it. In the most clubs, they have something to read, but now I have nothing to read.
That's okay. You go right ahead.
Yeah. So is it the first? Is it the truth? Right?
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned? Third, and this is my problem, will build
goodwill and
Will build goodwill and better friendships.
The fourth,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Right.
And
the fifth,
Number 5.
and the
will
fifth,
it be fun?
is it fun?
Will it be fun?
Yeah.
Will it be
Right.
fun?
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
All
guys
right.
for drinking too much wine tonight.
See you all next week.
Yeah.
Good weekend,